The Mountaineers play here.
Mountain Country 104.7.
Hello, Raider fans. This is Andrew Miller, voice of your Roane County Raiders, inviting you to join us for another action-packed week of Raider football on WVRC 104.7 FM. Last week, the Raiders finished off the regular season with a victory over Oak Glen, setting themselves up for the postseason and a second straight home game in round number 1. The number 3 ranked Raiders will welcome the number 14 ranked Patriots from Independence High School this Friday night. Raider football is brought to you all season long by these supporting sponsors: Penna's Barbershop, Roane General Hospital, Route 33 Steakhouse and La Finca Mexican Restaurant, Macintosh Hardware, Furniture and Appliance, Jack Garrett Ford, Ashley Insurance, Joel Baker Law PLLC, APS Air Production and Service Inc., Old Fences Realty, Stats Pharmacy, Richard's Lawn and Garden, Miller's Suds and Sales, Anita Harold Ashley for Circuit Judge, Phoenix Nutrition, Honest Fred's Flooring, D&D Motors, Hildreth Supply, Family Health Care, Groves Auto, Ford Depew Realty, Norman L. Daniels, State Farm Agent, Hardman Supply, Josh Downey for Circuit Judge, ECI Environmental Compliance Inc., Carpenter's General Store, Minnie Hamilton Health System, Boca Valley Bank, Spencer McDonald's, INS Intelligent Network Security, Rich Top Rentals, Spencer Cash Saver, Brandon Dental, DW Excavating LLC, Spencer Pizza Hut, Kirby Insurance, Philip Deaver for Roane County Sheriff, Calhoun Banks, and the Player of the Game Award sponsored by Willard C. Starcher Auto Parts. Join us this Friday night. Pre-game coverage begins at 7:05 p.m. and kickoff is set for 7:30 p.m. right here on your sports leader, WVRC 104.7 FM.
Since 2019, DW Excavating has been serving Roane and surrounding counties. We offer services including, but not limited to, repairing driveways, construction site preparation, drainage solutions, property brush clearing, farm road construction, culvert repair and installation, and utility line installation and repair. We provide free estimates. Check out our Facebook page or contact us at 304-532-2968 for more information. DW Excavating, taking pride in our work and in our community. DW Excavating is a proud supporter of all Roane County High School athletics. Go Raiders!
Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this Wednesday evening and our episode of the Raider Review. This is Andrew Miller. If I sound a little under the weather, it's because I blame John Penna just because he's here. Can blame that guy for anything. Anything and everything. I feel good, John. I just sound bad. For the first time, I should say, I feel good. But
I think you have more pep in your step.
I don't have any more pep. I don't have any pep left. There is no pep. There are no steps. But I do feel a little bit better finally after 2 months basically of being under the weather. And it's going to be a good evening here at the studio. We're crammed in here. For those of you who are watching right now, you can see, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, you can see all of them. John, why don't you do me a favor and slide that camera just towards you guys a little bit. Just angle it. Nope. Yep. That's good. That's good. Perfect. That way we can also see John and less of me. Oh, that's perfect. John knows exactly what to do when I ask you to do it. We're stuffed full here for those of you listening to us on the radio and on our website, of course. We got some winter sports going on here in just a couple of weeks, John. And so you got with me, and, of course, you have great ideas. It's the only kind you have, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's not real hard when it's just me and you.
We obviously get to talk about fall sports throughout the fall season, and we get to preview, really, just as all we get to do towards the end of football season. The winter sports that are upcoming, spring sports, just they take a third-place seat, unfortunately, for us. But we get a chance to talk about, and we will talk about a little bit of the upcoming basketball seasons for the girls and the boys teams. But we've got a lot of excitement surrounding the wrestling program this year, coming off of, I think, what you and I, John, would consider one of the better years we've had over the last few for a program, obviously very proud in Class AA, Single A.
Yeah, year in and year out, you think about Spencer High School, a dominant team in the state of West Virginia with wrestling, and then you take Coach Bender and get him to the high school when Roane County High School opens up. You have a ton of kids that wrestled throughout. You have Coach Jarvis come in and take over the program, and it's kind of one of my missions was to make sure that we try to build the wrestling program back to what it once was when Coach Jarvis was in an earlier part of his coaching career. So tons of state champs that came through Roane County, and proud of these guys for what they've done in the last few years, and we look forward to this upcoming season.
Very much so. The Raider Wrestling program, and we are represented here by 5 young men. Well, I say young, but in our world, John, they're not so young anymore. Any of these guys that we've been around now for so many years, they're all growing up on us. They're all getting to be juniors and seniors, and it's just really, really interesting to see. But we are joined in studio by Grayson Steele, Lane Watson, Tyson Penna, Leland Schaefer, and Bradley Mace, some of the representatives of the Roane County High School Wrestling program. We brought in some returning state tournament place winners, some state tournament qualifiers. So we got some guys in here that obviously, number one, had a successful season, and number two, know what it takes to make it to the level that they had to get to last year.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we've been very fortunate to have over the last 2 years is our Alpha Wrestling program in Roane County, giving us an opportunity to wrestle year-round. And that's something that we have not had in Roane County for a long time. Now, you look back at, Sam Whiting and Dylan Cottrell and the Fisher boys and Brad Hickman. Those guys traveled a lot to wrestle year-round and to get opportunities. Now, it paid off for those guys because all those guys that I just mentioned are state champs and Dutton Award winners, and it's just something that we wasn't able to do here in Roane County. And fortunately, right around the same time that Coach Jarvis and myself and Sam Whiting were talking about trying to do a club year-round, Quentin Keaton comes in and says, hey, I got this idea too, and Alpha Wrestling has been that. So we get a chance to practice twice a week throughout the off-season, sometimes 3 times a week. We try to compete as an Alpha team when we go to open tournaments, and a lot of guys have been able to do a lot of camps throughout the summer and the spring this past year, and it's paid dividends so far with our wrestling program.
We'll stick right in. Let's turn our attention right now to Grayson Steele. Grayson, you're one of the 2 seniors that are on this team this year. Wrestling is something for you, obviously. It was in the blood, obviously, when we talked about Coach Bender and his influence on the program. Your father, Will, was a tremendous wrestler for Coach Bender in Roane County High School. You, as a young guy, got into wrestling a little bit. You were kind of in and out of it. I think you've really, though, found something in the sport that you really have kind of latched on to. You're what I consider to be a very technical wrestler, somebody who really looks like they're methodical out on a wrestling mat. You're not one of these you're not a lot like Lane Watson, who's a lot like his brother sometimes, who we called the Honey Badger, was wild on the mat. You always seem to be almost thinking through everything that's happening on the wrestling mat. Is that something that you see in the way that you've become a wrestler as you've gotten older and older?
I think so, but also it's kind of held me back because I think too much before I do what I'm thinking of, and sometimes it's put me in a spot where it's too late to do it.
Well, you're one of those guys, just a couple of years ago, you and Lane were battling it out for the same weight class at 145. Yeah. Well, both of you guys grew up. You got a lot bigger. And so now you've found a niche at a weight class that number one, requires a ton of strength, but that's one thing that you do not lack. You have a lot of strength, so that's got to be. When you made that move up to the higher weight classes, is that something you had to rely on early on when you were trying to battle these bigger guys?
I think it helped me. I did not expect to go up that far at all, but when it happened, it definitely benefited my wrestling.
Well, you're going in now to your senior season. It's. I know for John and I, it's very easy to just say, "Man, it's been a short trip." Just from watching you as a kid to now. For you, has it been short, or as a kid, has it been a long ride to get to your senior season? Are you prepared for the upcoming year?
It's definitely been a long ride, but I'm not quite prepared yet. I feel like that first tournament, it always opens up.
Well, you've been quite busy. Obviously, you're a guy who is very self-motivated, would be the term. You started a business when you were a sophomore in high school.
Correct.
You started an LLC when you were a sophomore in high school. So you had to learn, not only being a sophomore in high school, you had to go to school and learn and do all the stuff you had to do. You had to learn at that point, you probably knew how to drive, but you had to get your driver's license, and you had to learn the ins and outs of running a business. Then you had to get clients. Then you had to serve clients. And now you're 2 years into a business on top of being a senior in high school. How do you manage?
I don't know. The business is what fuels me at this point. It's you never know what's going to happen, and the not knowing what's going to happen is always.
Well, here's a good thing that's happening. I knew him, and he got a hold of me, and he has been doing some work for us here for the last couple of summers. And boy, I couldn't be more thankful that you have that business and that you do what you do with it. Go ahead and plug your business while you're here, man. I mean, here's an opportunity to plug a business.
It's Mountain State Pro Wash and Lawn. We do power washing and landscaping work around the Roane County area.
I've seen once in a while you hire some knuckleheads with you.
Yeah.
They work okay, though, I think. Yeah, they do all right. Now, it's a good thing that you've done that. Again, you're self-motivated. That helps, again, on the mat as well as off the mat. And obviously, coming into your senior season, what are the goals that you have as far as that's concerned?
I think from where I was state qualifier last year, I didn't quite make it to placing. So I think if I place this year, I think that'll be a pretty good milestone.
Well, I know Coach Penna over there is very excited about the possibility of that. We were both looking at it last year, and we were like, well, we got all these guys back, and this guy was here, this guy was here, this guy was here. If this guy gets to here, it really is a good opportunity as one of the seniors to help lead this program. The other senior is bookending our good buddy Lane Watson over there. That's Tyson Penna, and holy bejesus, you're a senior. That caught us quickly, didn't it, John?
It definitely did.
Okay, so I remember holding Tyson like right here, yeah. And now you're a senior in high school. Well, first, has that hit you yet?
Yeah.
It has?
Definitely has. Yeah, like, we just started flex days, and I'm already like, this is crazy. Like, my last year ever doing this.
Well, you have certainly committed yourself. It's funny to watch your career as an athlete, number one. You were always one of those kids that you had a big old smile on your face because you were just happy to be competing. It didn't matter if it was wrestling or football or whatever it was. You were happy to be part of the team. But then when it was your turn to compete, you competed hard, but some sort of flip switched in your head at about 7th grade where you went from I'm happy to be competing in something to I'm pretty good at this and I want to be better at it. And throughout your career, you've made it up to this level where you decided that wrestling is the way you want to go. And from the moment you decided that, you have put in some serious off-season work. Let's talk about some of that off-season work that you've done over the last couple of years.
It's been 2 years. I've been doing off-season work for 2 years straight now. A lot of camps, alpha practice. I go to alpha twice a week. But yeah, this summer I hit a lot of camps. I couldn't tell you how many we actually did, but we
I bet your dad could. He could write. He could add it up financially.
I can add it all up. I promise you that.
But yeah, I've done a lot. Lane's done some with me, but Yeah, a lot of off-season work.
Well, obviously, as you know, to get to where you want to go, it required an extra level because last year was the first year that you were able to step onto the podium at Huntington. It's a place that you've been to a few times as a kid. It's a place you went to as a fan, and then it was a place you qualified for, got that first little bit of understanding of what it takes. And then last year, you not only qualified, but you finished 5th place in the state of West Virginia. Was that, number one, surprising to you?
No, not really. The way that my season was playing out, I kind of figured out that I was going to place, but I definitely should have placed higher than what I did. I wasn't very happy about what I placed. I mean, placing is a big thing, but I knew I had a better chance to place higher than what I did. But just hopefully this year I can win it all.
Well, obviously you have put in a ton of work this off season as well with the camps, with the Alpha, but you've also done some other different work. You've gone to different schools, and you've gotten some training from some different coaching staffs, including a couple of George brothers right up at Williamstown.
Oh yeah, we went up there to practice with them. I went to Point to practice with Point.
Lewis.
We went to Lewis, yeah. College wrestlers too. Peyton Hall, Killian Cardinal, a few guys from Virginia Tech. And then when we go to the Mountaineer camp over summer, it's the whole team and their coaches. So I'm really getting a lot of knowledge with being able to use that in my wrestling.
Now, I heard you held your own against a Mountaineer wrestler. Is that true or false?
I tried. I definitely tried, but it's Peyton Hall. You're not gonna.
Yeah, he's a 165 wrestler.
Yeah.
And one of the best in the Big 12 as well. Well, obviously, Tyson, you kind of alluded to what your grand goal is this year. Your grand goal is to stand at the top of the podium. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was real close last year. I mean, I was in the semifinals, and I hope this year I can make it past that and be the top.
Be the top dog in the state. It's very interesting for people who don't know how it works at the state wrestling tournament. You get through a couple of rounds, and you make it into what they call, well, at the college level, they call it the blood round, and that's for qualifying for All-American status. For West Virginia wrestling, it's on a Friday night. It's the semifinals, and sometimes, or oftentimes, that's considered some of the best wrestling that you're going to see at the state tournament, because a lot of times you may see a 1 versus 2 matchup in the semifinals on Friday night. If you win that semifinal match on Friday night, you don't wrestle until the end on Saturday. You are a state championship qualifier for the final match, and of course that's when the fun starts. John and I get to be right on the side of the mats there to call the broadcast of the. We've been doing Class AAA, but we're doing AA Single A this year for sure. So I hope to see some of you guys out there on that Saturday evening. Be a lot more fun to see some Raider colors mentioned. We move right into the middle of the two seniors, and we got a junior here, Lane Watson. Buddy, you are a busy man right now. Thank you, number one, for coming up here. I know you just got done with football practice, obviously.
Yeah, it was a little tough, but I made my way up here. Why not?
Let's talk about real quick tomorrow, not tomorrow, but Friday night. You guys got a big one coming up. Before we get into your wrestling, obviously you guys have had one heck of a season as a football program. I mentioned this with Coach Burdett a couple of weeks ago. He agreed. It's kind of like John and I have known you guys as a group and how you guys interact and how you guys are the most comfortable on the field. It's when you're making fun of each other in pregame, I know that, and you're acting fools. That's when we know you're ready for a game. It never seems like you guys get too nervous about a game. The game is never too big for you guys. You've played enough football and you've won enough football games that it's almost like you're expecting these big moments, and they're just natural for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really get that nervous. I mean, everybody gets a little nervous It's part of life. But it's just go out there and play. You know, there's nothing else to it to me. I just go out there and play my game. You know, if it doesn't work, then good for the other people. But most of the time it works.
Well, it has worked more often than not for you, for certain, this year. I know you probably don't follow Metro News Game Night, but I've talked with Fred a couple of weeks ago. He's like, boy, he's like, I saw this number 88 in the backfield, and I thought, who in the world is putting an 88 in the backfield? And then he's like, well, that Lane Watson kid's pretty darn good. I said, yeah, he makes plays just about everywhere on the field. You know, it's been a great year for you, obviously, Lane, individually, but knowing you and knowing how your brain operates when it comes to team sports, you're less interested in that, although you know you do have to make plays for us to win. You got a big one on Friday night. You got a chance for I don't want to call it redemption because you guys haven't seen Indy for a couple of years. You guys were freshmen your year when we went down there and had them on the ropes. But an opportunity, nonetheless, to defeat the defending Class AA state champs. That's kind of neat to say, if nothing else.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game. But, I mean, to us, we should just go out there and play, and then the deciding factor is going to show.
Well, obviously, you're going to go straight from football, and you're going to work right into wrestling season. As Tyson said, you had a little bit of time to do some wrestling in the off season during the summer, things like that. Number one, how do you manage your time? Because that's very difficult to do as a young man.
Well, my dad isn't too keen on taking the answer no, so that was definitely one of the main reasons. And so he definitely pushed me to do a lot more stuff than I wanted to, but I'm grateful for it. And I like it, too, just to, you know, keep my gears warm for wrestling, you know, not get all rusty and all that.
That's a big deal, is to not be rusty coming into a wrestling season. A lot of guys use the 2 weeks of practice and the first couple of beats as kind of a rust remover, but if you come in and you've got at least a little bit of mat time, that helps a lot. Obviously, Lane, last year you stood on the podium as well. And I know that you're in a weight class, just as we mentioned. They're all tough. All right? They're all difficult. But you had a really rough weight class last year at the state meet, and you still performed and made the podium. Were you pleased with that? Were you disappointed in how it finished up? How did you gauge last year at the States?
Well, I was happy for sure for making a state place or getting sixth. But I definitely lost some matches that I should have won. There's definitely one I can go back on. I should have won.
Pretty sure I know which one you're talking about.
And, I mean, this year is definitely number one. There's nothing else to it. That's the only thing that's in my mind. But I'm happy for placing. That just tells me I can definitely move up now.
Absolutely, absolutely. We wish you the best of luck of that, too. Bradley Mace right behind you. The young man we have called Mudbug for many years, and it's very interesting. We said that as they walked in here. They were like, hey, he might smell he's been wrestling a pig. And I was like, what?
So kidding.
Number one, Bradley, explain. I need to know why you were wrestling a pig tonight.
We have these ham bacon pigs for the high school, and we got to take them up there and put them on another trailer to go get slaughtered. And I got roped into catching them.
One got away? Is that what you're saying?
Well, not really that. We just had to pin them up in a pen and then load them on the trailer. It's not that easy.
Well, Bradley,
it sounds like a good practice plan for the beginning of wrestling season.
Yeah.
You got to get used to it.
That's like a Rocky style training method there. Bradley, last year again a qualifier for the state tournament. You're somebody who wrestled a little bit as a youngster. Obviously, you went away from the sport for a little bit. What made you come back into the sport of wrestling other than John Penna?
Well, I just felt like I needed to do something else. Felt like I wasn't doing enough, and figured why not try it again. And
well, you tried. And you succeeded quite well last year at the weight class you were at. Now, was last year the year that he was 165, bumped down to 157, or was that the year before?
No, last year was his first year back into wrestling.
Okay.
Started off at 57 and then went down to 50.
Oh, you went down to 50. That's right. So, one thing that we do know about you, Bradley, is you are what we consider around the Roane County area as country strong. There's strength, and then there's a different kind of strength, and you possess that different kind of strength. And when you're trying to, speaking of, as Lane said, knocking the rust off, you were knocking the rust off of a couple of years not wrestling.
Yeah.
So while that happens, you utilize your strength in a lot of those early matches to just beat up on guys.
Oh,
He's a man of few words.
Well, we did hear he was going to be a man of few words. So you make the state meet last year. That's obviously got to be a goal for every kid, is to try to make it to states. You make it to states, and that's a goal earned, but then you get there and you fall a little short in some matches I think you realize that you could have won in.
Oh.
So does that provide you motivation coming into this year?
yeah. Lots of motivation to get higher up in the rankings and all that.
So your goal is this year what?
I'm going to try to go for at least to get on the mound.
He wants to be in the top 6?
Yeah.
They're wanting more out of him. They're like, come on, man. We want more than just top 6. Well, again.
Top 3. How about that?
Okay, he says top 3.
I'm
That
here for it,
it would be
man.
up on the podium with it, top 3. Well, you've got yourself quite a nice mat opponent, mate, or whatever you call it. Somebody in there to roll with here right beside you, and that's Leland Schaefer. Leland, again, young man, it's crazy to see you at this age now. Gosh. You also are a member of the football team. You have your job, your role has gotten a little more intense over the last couple of weeks, hasn't it?
Yeah.
They have been defensively interjecting you, Leland, to a couple of positions. How important is it that you've played so much football and you've played so many different football positions that you are comfortable with running as a linebacker and as a defensive end?
It's just, it'll help you a lot when you go to different positions.
Well, you've obviously had an increased role, and that's important for you guys, and you've done a good job with it. And we hope that that continues throughout this year. And when you look at the way things shake out next year, you better be ready again, Bub, because it's going to be a long season for you on defense for sure, and probably on some offense now. But enough about that. Again, we're all about wrestling here tonight, Leland. You're another young man who's been in and out of the sport, in more than out, I would say. And you've kind of caught yourself in one of those weight positions where you're trying to find your niche. Have you found the weight class that fits you the best this year?
I think 75.
So 175 is where you're going to be at. You'll be below 190, and that was you last year. You were 75 last year.
Leland got to 57 last year.
Leland got all the way down to 57 last year. You're weighing about 220 pounds right now, though, Lane.
That's a little high, but yeah.
Okay, well, I meant good. I mean, so where's this all going to shake out? If you're looking at 175, are you looking to be the starter at 175? Are you looking to go down to?
Oh, no.
Where's everybody going to be if you're going to be at 175?
I'll be 190.
You'll be at 190.
I'm looking at 215 right now.
250, golly. Horses. These young little kids are horses. Now we know Tyson's down in the 20, 26 range. What's the goal?
20.
20 for you, and then Bradley, you're looking at 157 this year. So Leland, you got a position right there at 175 ready for you. Obviously, it's a bump up in weight for you, but did you have trouble getting down last year?
Oh, yeah. It took the whole season.
Leland came in at about close to 80.
It was 180 on the
Yeah.
dot.
He was about 180, and with Lane at 75, and then we had Luke already solidified there at 65. We're like, hey, we need a 57, because at that point Bradley had dropped a little bit enough to get the 50, and we're looking to get that 57 play or a 57 starter, and then that way we would have an absolute full roster.
Yeah.
So it took Lee, and the way that they do the weights now, you can't drop 15 pounds in a week.
Yeah.
It's got to be gradual for health purposes. You
It ain't like it used to be.
We've been around the sport for a long time.
The sunken eyes and all that, so you can't do that anymore.
Yeah, that's frowned upon. But yeah, so Leland was able to get there, but it took him a little bit longer into the season, and I think that might have played a little bit in the struggle for you to get comfortable last year, because he wasn't kind of like it was. He had to cut quite a bit to get to 57, and I think it just took him a little while to get comfortable at being at 57 and staying around there. But this year, you're looking at what we talked about it earlier, about 3 pounds right now away from being 75. So
well, that's got to feel really, really nice considering last year. Well, you look at that, Leland, and you made a pretty healthy sacrifice for the team last year. It took you throughout the year to get to that level, and you worked your butt off to get there just to fill a spot. I wonder, does that earn more respect from the guys than just being at a weight class already and winning some matches? Is it that consistency to trying to get to where you wanted to be there just to help out the team?
Yeah, I just wanted to make the team better and just keep pushing everybody.
Well, hopefully this year you don't have to worry about eating ice chips all day, every day, and spitting to get down to 157, 175. That's a much better, I think, weight for you, obviously, specifically based on what you've done now in the offseason for football. As we look at you and Lane, and we look at just the growth that you guys have made just physically in your bodies. You just couldn't. You couldn't stay down there because your body said, hey, we're going to grow. We're going to get taller. We're going to get taller, and we're going to get a whole lot bigger. So it's just the way the cookie crumbles. It's so weird to think about. You know, you guys were some 145 just a couple of years ago, and now you're in the 200s. And then there's Tyson, still down at 120. I don't know how he's done. Well, he's gotten taller, I guess. I mean,
I don't think so.
No, he's not gotten.
I haven't got any taller.
Well, fellas, I do appreciate you guys giving us your time coming in here and getting ready for this year with us. We're going to be with you guys a lot this year at the station. Hopefully, we can broadcast a lot of these matches and a lot of these matches and a lot of these tournaments and get the word out about Roane County Wrestling this year, because I think you guys got a lot to look forward to this year. Obviously, the individual goals are what they are. If you look as a team goal, let one of you guys speak for everybody. As a team, what are the goals that you have throughout this season for wrestling?
For me personally, team-wise, I think we can definitely go to the state duels and get a decent place there. I'm not really sure how placing works there, but I know we can shoot for a pretty high place there.
For state duels, we have to go to the state duels qualifier, and we almost got into the state duels last year. I think it's kind of Lane's fault because he wasn't there.
Oh my gosh, throwing shade, Lane.
But
That's my fault. I think met somebody before that.
he had it coming.
I think this year we can definitely make it. I don't know how placement works either, but I think we definitely make it. And then regionals, we were runner-up last year as in the region, so I think we have a good chance to definitely win it this year. And I don't think we've won since 2016. So I think we have a pretty good shot at winning as a team.
Well, that would be fantastic to get a regional championship under your belts. Obviously, you're in the LKC conference, one of the premier wrestling conferences year in and year out in Class AA, Single A. That's another important meet every single year for you guys. To get a regional championship, though, you look back at the program's history. Again, you guys are you guys. You guys are in the present, but obviously you guys aren't tone deaf to what the program has had in the history. Do you ever feel not pressure to live up to those expectations, but more or less do you feel excitement that you can represent a program that has that much proud tradition in wrestling?
Oh yeah, I think it'd be great to be something that like our kids or somebody's kids want to do that later on.
It is something that we still look at, and of course, you walk the halls and you see the pictures of the state champions up there. And back in the day, if you go over to Old Spencer High School, you see the state championship banners for the teams and everything that was put up there. It is a proud program here in Roane County, and we're glad that you guys, as a group, from the young age all the way up, you've been in and out once in a while, but you guys have stuck through it here, and you guys represent your team coming up this winter, and I think the sky's the limit for you all. We do wish you the best of luck this year.
We're gonna be tough.
Thank you.
Yeah, going to be tough. I like that. They're going to be tough. Hey, Lane, you and Leland, go get some sleep. Go rest. Go relax. We got you guys again on Friday night. We're at the Raider Review. Going to take a break for our sponsor, DW Excavating. We'll be right back with Coach Paul Burdett.
Since 2019, DW Excavating has been serving Roane and surrounding counties. We offer services including, but not limited to, repairing driveways, construction site preparation, drainage solutions, property brush clearing, farm road construction, culvert repair and installation, and utility line installation and repair. We provide free estimates. Check out our Facebook page or contact us at 304-532-2968 for more information. DW Excavating, taking pride in our work and in our community. DW Excavating is a proud supporter of all Roane County High School athletics. Go Raiders!
Hello, Raider fans. This is Andrew Miller, voice of your Roane County Raiders, inviting you to join us for another action-packed week of Raider football on WVRC 104.7 FM. Last week, the Raiders finished off the regular season with a victory over Oak Glen, setting themselves up for the postseason and a second straight home game in round number 1. The number 3 ranked Raiders will welcome the number 14 ranked Patriots from Independence High School this Friday night. Raider football is brought to you all season long by these supporting sponsors: Penna's Barbershop, Roane General Hospital, Route 33 Steakhouse and La Finca Mexican Restaurant, Macintosh Hardware, Furniture and Appliance, Jack Garrett Ford, Ashley Insurance, Joel Baker Law PLLC, APS Air Production and Service Inc., Old Fences Realty, Stats Pharmacy, Richard's Lawn and Garden, Miller's Suds and Sales, Anita Harold Ashley for Circuit Judge, Phoenix Nutrition, Honest Fred's Flooring, D&D Motors, Hildreth Supply, Family Healthcare, Groves Auto, Ford Depew Realty, Norman L. Daniels, State Farm Agent, Hardman Supply, Josh Downey for Circuit Judge, ECI Environmental Compliance Inc., Carpenter's General Store, Minnie Hamilton Health System, Boca Valley Bank, Spencer McDonald's, INS Intelligent Network Security, Ridgetop Rentals, Spencer Cash Saver, Brandon Dental, DW Excavating LLC, Spencer Pizza Hut, Kirby Insurance, Philip Deaver for Roane County Sheriff, Calhoun Banks, and the Player of the Game Award sponsored by Willard C. Starcher Auto Parts. Join us this Friday night. Pre-game coverage begins at 7:05 p.m. and kickoff is set for 7:30 p.m. right here on your sports leader, WVRC 104.7 FM.
Kathy Harper, Kid, Connie Burdett, Jim Deem, all watching us out there on Facebook. Also want to say hi to our good buddy Boots, Joe Boots Blosser, and the superfan Pigpen says he's watching from Lexington, Kentucky, but he said he'll see us at the game Friday night. How about that?
Good stuff.
That's good news. You're listening to the Raider Review. I want to thank all those young men for coming in, again, giving us their time. Obviously, practice just got started for high school wrestling, so those young men, and again, we talked about Bradley wrestling pigs this evening, so they're busy young men. They're doing a lot of stuff, and for them to come up here, John, and give us a half hour of their time is really important to us. It's very, very gratifying that we get to talk about those guys, and they're fun kids anyway. We've been around them for so many years, and oh, man, just to see him grow up is crazy.
It's definitely crazy, and it's really been a fast 4 years, but 2 years of just being consistently on the mat and putting a lot of time into the Alpha program and what we do in the off season and trying to make sure that our kids get the best opportunities with the wrestling side of it. Tyson and Lane were able to go to the Felix Academy in Morgantown for 5 days. It was a intensity camp. That was back in June. They both were texting us, telling us that the food wasn't great. There were 4 showers, and the water was always cold. It was very hot during the day, freezing during the night. And Jake and I just replied that was the best $500 that we had spent in a long time to make our kids suffer a little bit. But that happened, and then there were 6 of our guys that went to the WVU camp. It was a 4-day technique camp. We had Leland, Tyson, Lane, Tommy Evans, Forrest Coe, Mac Webb, all those guys got an opportunity to be at WVU for 4 days. And then Tyson was the lone guy that went to a Jeff Jordan camp. And out of all the camps that he went to, I really enjoyed the Jeff Jordan camp the most. It's in Ohio. It's up around Dayton. It was a 3-day camp, and they just worked top and bottom stuff. So very technical. You're not standing up. You're working on things that are on the ground, from top and bottom position. I was very impressed with that. The Jordan family, very big in Ohio wrestling. Ohio State wrestlers, all 4 of the boys. One of them is actually coaching now, and they were so approachable and such good, leaders of young men. It was awesome. Every year from here on out, any of my boys that wrestle in my house, we're definitely going to hit up at least one Jordan camp per summer.
Yeah.
So it's a whole different world. Wrestling is a whole different thing, and really, it's kind of cool. We wrestled Sunday at Spring Valley in an open meet, and we were able to take 6 of our kids. Now Taven's he's not a middle school wrestler yet. He's a little Raider right now. We took 6 of them. Taven took second place. Tyson was the champ at 126. Mac Webb was second place at 150. Tommy Evans was second place at 138. Forrest Coe was third at 150. And then Noah was fourth at 106. So everybody placed. Pretty cool deal. But these wrestlers, they become buddies, and they text each other back and forth. And one of the kids from Lewis County was texting Tyson and asking Tyson about the Jordan camp because he was going to a camp, over that weekend. So pretty cool deal. Tyson wrestled on a national team, national duels team at the Felix Academy, and he was with Team Mahindra. You had kids from Beckley, St. Albans, Ripley, Hoover, Ravenswood, Braxton County. Blaine Jarvis was there, so he got to wrestle on that team, and they actually ended up winning the national duels title. So just so many cool things, and so many opportunities to meet a lot of good kids throughout. And you root for those guys. As long as they're not wrestling our guys, I'm going to root for those kids that that work hard in their off seasons. So.
That kind of sport reminds me a lot of the sport of track and field, in that you see these people at the same meets every year. You end up running against each other or competing against each other 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 times a year. Yeah. And you do it year in and year out. You develop friendships with these kids. Yeah. Well, wrestling's very similar, and a lot of these kids, speaking of Tyson, a lot of these kids have wrestled each other since midget league, so they know each other even longer than just through high school.
It's funny because of course, kids grow and all this and that. But when Tyson and Blaine from Blaine Jarvis from Braxton County, and then the Lowe twins from Wirt County, there was a time when Luke Watson and Tyson and the Lowe twins and Blaine were all the same weight class. Jeez. And then Trish and Gianni from Ritchie County, and they're all on the podium. So there's all these kids that are placers, and you look now at the state tournament pictures, and those guys are all placers. Yeah. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's really cool to go back and look at those and see that. But once again, I just really want to thank Quentin Keaton. Yeah. Quentin has been so good about pushing our wrestling program and trying to get as many athletes as we can to come out and participate. With our youth league, with our Raider Youth Wrestling right now, we're looking at about 27 kids. Middle school's right about 15, 16 kids, and in the high school, we had 30 guys sign up. We'll see if all 30 of them stick it out. It's pretty rough, to start off with. Kids may not understand what they're up against, especially at the high school level. You come in and you're wrestling kids that have been wrestling. This will be Tyson's 14th year. So, you got to understand a little bit. But Alpha helps us prepare those guys for that through the off season. So.
Well, Quentin Keaton, again, he is doing big things through Jack Garrett Ford, obviously, and with Alpha Wrestling. Obviously, with the season starting, they are kind of adjusting their times and their stuff. A lot of this stuff over the winter time, I think, for Alpha is going to be kind of at a we get together thing. He mentioned it wasn't going to be we're doing Tuesdays and Thursdays at this time. It's going to be like if there's some guys who want to come get some work in, give us a holler, and we'll open it up for some work. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah, and not only that, we have a weight room in the back, and there are a lot of cool things that we have in that back room. We have ropes that the kids can climb clear to the top of the ceiling and hit a buzzer. We've got pegboards, we've got a lift, we've got a rack, we've got kettlebells. I mean, we've got a lot of equipment for our guys to use to help them get stronger, to help them cut if they need to cut a little bit, it's an awesome place for us to have. I mean, looking back 5 years ago, you were lucky to get any kind of wrestling stuff going on, but it's been awesome over the last 2 years.
Appreciate Bo Williams tuning in. He says, watching from Wellington, Ohio, and he said, you guys are so handsome. I assume he means you and Coach Burdett because he cannot see me. So there you go, guys. He has given you guys his stamp of approval physically. Lady Raider volleyball season has ended. Again, they were shorthanded. They took their team that they had left over from the three that were over in Indianapolis on Saturday and went to face off against Philip Barber, who, by the way, if I am not incorrect, is playing for the state title tomorrow. I'm broadcasting that, so I should know. So Roane County's Lady Raiders went up, tried to battled hard, but fell in 3 sets to the Colts. And that would end Roane County's season. But a great year for Coach Allie Peary and her team. Again, we want to thank the 5 seniors for all that they did throughout their careers, and, of course, for this year as well. Going to be missing them as they move on to bigger and better things. But there's a lot coming back next year. The cupboard is far from empty. A very talented program continues here at Roane County High School. And, of course, Allie Peary, just very young in her coaching career. So hopefully that continues and good things happen. Let's talk about some football, fellas. Last Friday night, we made the long trip up to New Cumberland and Oak Glen High School. Our first trip up there. Not mine. I went up there a couple years ago to broadcast a first-round playoff game.
You and I went and did a girls' basketball.
We did a girls' basketball regional. Holy cow, when was that? 2010, 11, 12?
Mary Kate was it Mary Kate, Hardman?
I believe they were sophomores.
Sophomores, I believe.
Whenever Mary Kate Westfall and, oh my goodness, Hannah Hardman and Rochelle McCroskey were sophomores, whenever that was. And I remember getting our phone line kicked intentionally 5 or 6 times to cut us off because we were sitting up in the student section.
Yep.
And that was frustrating, to say the least. But anyways, I digress. We came back there again, and nothing got cut off. We actually had great service up there.
What a great press box.
And a great press box for us. And it was warm, and Coach Burdett, you guys were down on the field, and you were in the elements. It was nice and frosty up there on the hill, and you guys faced off against, let's just call it, a very motivated Oak Glen Golden Bear team who came in at 1-8 on the season. And those are the games you mentioned to me right before the game started when we were talking. You said, this is the kind of team that can scare people because, number one, they got nothing to lose. Number two, they had an extra week off. Number three, with that extra week, you were worried they may put in some stuff that you hadn't seen. And they did all 3 of those things, and they brought the heat to you guys from start to finish. And you guys were in one heck of a battle. But again, when the dust all settles, good teams find out ways to win games like that. We saw that night, Scott did not survive against a team that they probably were picked to beat relatively handily. You guys got into a dogfight with an Oak Glen team, and you come out with a victory. Great second half, obviously, great third quarter. But just say happy to be out of there with a win, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you kind of see those kind of things coming, I guess. As an old guy, it's hard to say that, but it's true. Seen a lot of football and been around a lot of, a lot of different situations when it comes to playing the game. And you watched Oak Glen on film and the teams that they had played, and you knew that they were a pretty solid football team that had played a really good schedule. And there was some high games and some low games for them, but, you have a week off. It's senior night. It's the last game of the season. There's nothing to lose. You throw all that together, and then you get the opening kickoff. You turn it for a touchdown, and you get a stop. You get the ball back. And I really think, guys, it's a totally different ball game if that second drive we just go down and put it in the end zone. You go up by 2 scores, and whatever hope they had just kind of gets squashed. And but we wanted to make it interesting, so we didn't allow that to happen.
Now, just so you know, Coach, our booth position, Cody May, one of your coaches, is right outside of the side window that I'm at. And he was able to pop his head in every once in a while. And he doesn't do it often, but once in a while he'll update us on something or let us know. and what he said about that play, we'll say it off the air, but let's just say the blame, he says, may or may not be on your assistant coach and defensive coordinator.
Well, that was a discussion we had all the way up there, about halfway up. You know what? That was a play that we had worked on and worked on and worked on, and we had never shown it. And so, it was time to use it, and it just didn't hit right. It did hit right. It just, Lane mishandled the ball, and then I know Lane, so I knew what was going to happen as soon as he regained possession. And I was standing not far from him screaming, "No, Lane, no," because I know him. And,
but he was going to try to fulfill
He was trying to make a play, and kudos to the kid from Oak Glen because, man, he just timed it perfect. If the ball gets to Brandon, it may be a touchdown.
Yeah.
Because we got 3 blockers coming around on that play, and there was only about 2 guys on the other side of the field. But
the idea behind it was great.
Yeah, that gave them the spark.
Yeah, it did.
And,
it did,
and it fired them up, and it made them believe. Mm-hmm. And but we were able to get the ball back in the next series and go right back down the field and score. We missed the extra point, make it 13-7, and then we stop them and get the ball back, and about the second play of that drive, Clay twists his ankle.
Yeah.
And so at that point, we're in a little bit of a bind because we're trying to make changes and substitutions on the fly. That's not the scenarios you practice each and every week.
Yeah.
So at that point in time, we were trying to survive, honestly, to get to halftime and to be able to make the changes we need to make and get everybody squared away on what we was going to do. And Oak Glen was able to get one in, make the extra point, and they're leading at halftime. When you drive 4 hours, when you ride 4 hours on a yellow bus, and you're going to play a 1-18, and you're losing 14-13 at halftime, it makes you feel a little uncomfortable. But, we talked outside the locker room as a staff, and we made, Coach May said, "Hey, I think this is what we need to do," and he was totally right. And we made changes on the offensive side of the ball that we need to make, and we come back out in the second half, and, I guess when it really comes down to it, they scored twice on us, but really, they had the one drive that they scored, and then the long throw, which we had guys there. It just didn't happen. Yeah. The defense didn't happen, and then you give them one on the toss. But Leland Schaefer, who was just in here, came up clutch.
Yep.
On the onside kick, because the kid from Oak Glen kicked a perfect onside kick. Slow roller, and was just going to make it there. And Leland, and I got to mention this, right before the kick, Sawyers motioning Leland over, and Leland moves about 4 yards, and the ball comes right to him. Had Saul not been motioning Leland to move over,
you never know.
It may have got really interesting. But still, even at that, we came back out, scored twice in the second half on offense, and played really good on the defensive side of the ball other than one play. But then once we got the ball back, we had to get a first down. We had to allow Oakland to use their timeouts and get that out of the way and get the first down so we can get out of there. And our guys found a way to win. Again, it wasn't pretty, and I've talked about it more in the last 5 minutes than I have all week.
I'm glad you have with us, Coach.
Just because, I told the guys on Monday, I said that season's over.
Yep.
Yeah, we were 9-1, and that season's over. It's a brand new season, and we've got to focus on that. If it was 27-26 or 20, whatever it would have been, it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah.
Just the same as we would have went up there and blew them out.
Yeah.
It was a win, and in the end, that's all that really matters. That we were 1-0 Friday night, and that season is gone. I'm proud of what we did all year long to put ourselves in the position that we're in, but we got to take care of this season now, and we got to be 1-0 this Friday night.
Absolutely. Well, obviously, the prognosticating was happening throughout the week, and one thing that I don't think anybody predicted, I'd be shocked if many people predicted Nitro beating Scott, and that threw a monkey wrench into a lot of the stuff that we had. We were like, well, we're going to see Frankfurt, or we're going to see this team. There was a chance, we thought, maybe Independence if things happened certain ways, but it happened a completely different way in that Scott loses. Nitro jumps from 19 to 13. Scott goes behind us where we thought we were going to be at 4. Mm-hmm. We stay at 3. Scott and Nitro have to play each other again. That bumps Independence into the 14th spot where we will host Independence. And, of course, I mentioned this to Lane. He was just a freshman when we went down there and had an opportunity against that team. Or was he a freshman? Was that?
He was a freshman.
He was a freshman that year. So it's not exactly what you want to call like revenge or anything like that. It's a completely new team. We're a new team. But for us, at least, you look back, you were like, daggone it, we had that group. By the tail, we had them. And we were a game away from seeing that team last year in the playoffs. And they are the defending state AA champions. So there's some cool things to think about when we're getting prepared for this. But again, as you guys are preparing as coaches, it just is. It's the first game of the postseason. It is time to go to work and be 1-0. You look at Independence, and obviously as a 14 seed, they're probably one of the better lower seeds you're going to see. Frankfurt would have been in that mix as well. But I think Independence one of the better higher seeds that you're looking at.
If you look at the group of 16 altogether, there's not very many what I would consider gimme games in the 8 AA games that'll happen this Friday. They're just not there. I mean, even you drop down to number 15 and Wayne. Wayne has played everybody close all year long.
Yep.
Now they got a tall task Friday night with Fairmont Senior, but Wayne's been a solid team all year. So there's a couple games in there that you could probably predict that which way they're going to go, but the rest of them I think will be really good ball games and could go to one or the other very easily. So Independence is a very, very strong, good football team. 6-3. Their only losses are to Oak Hill, who's AAA and playing in AAA playoffs. Bluefield, who is Bluefield, even though they did not make the AA playoffs this year because of the schedule that they play.
Yeah.
Still Bluefield and impressive when you watch them on film. And then they lost to Mingo Central. There's a couple common opponents between us and Independence with Shady Spring and Mingo Central, and we beat Shady, they beat Shady. They beat Shady in a different manner than what we did, but that's an in-county rivalry. You're talking minutes away from each other.
Yeah.
We've watched Independence play Shady twice in 21, And you just go back and you look at the history there, really since Coach Lilly got to Independence, there's kind of a mental block, it seems. Mental block because of the toughness that Independence is.
Yeah.
But in 21, they beat Shea like 63-0 in the regular season and beat them 72-0 in the playoff game. And so with kids, man, there's a mental block there. But anyways, Independence beat Shady worse than we did. But then you turn around and Independence lost to Mingo Central, and we beat Mingo Central. So that's the football math we talk about all the time that is really pointless to talk about because it doesn't add up. So I think it's a really good matchup, and we've got to go out and play really good, solid football Friday night. We've got to be very disciplined on both sides of the ball. We've got to be fundamentally correct, and we've got to play good, hard-nosed, physical football the way that we have become to be known around the state of West Virginia for doing. And that's what our guys like, and that's what we've been able to hang our hat on and be successful with for the last 3 years, and we got to continue to do that.
Well, let's talk real quick about this Independence team. You mentioned Coach Lilly still there as the head coach. There are tendencies with programs. Obviously, there are things that programs, as you mentioned, are known for. They have changed up, though, some of their personnel throughout this season. They had Trey Bowers originally listed as a quarterback. They've moved him out of the quarterback position, brought in a sophomore as a quarterback. Seems as if that has obviously worked for them. What is their offensive strategy coming into a ball game? Are they a run-first, run-heavy team? Are they a balanced team? What are they?
I think they definitely want to run the ball, or that's the way it seems on film. They will throw the ball, and they're capable of throwing the ball, and they've got guys out there that they can throw it to. Trey Bowers was the starting quarterback on the state championship team last year, and it just, to me, it shows his leadership to be able to say, hey, maybe we're better if I'm playing the receiver or the slot. And they've made that move, and it's worked out really well for them. They got Linksweiler at the backfield, and he's a really good running back. And so they try to divvy it up between him and Bowers on the run game. And then, Bowers probably gets most of the passes in the pass game. But they have a couple other receivers that are very capable as well that they throw to that are really good athletes. So I think they definitely want to establish the run, though. Not that they won't throw it early, but the running is what they're really good at, and it's what they won a state championship with. So, you got to be able to take care of that. You got to be able to take care of both aspects on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, speaking of defense, this is a Independence defense right now that is reeling coming into the postseason. They have not allowed a point in, I believe, the last 4 contests. They have shut out their last 4 opponents. How is it that they're doing that?
They're just an attacking defense. It's the same thing we've seen in 21. We are a read offensive lineman type defense, read and react, with our 4-2-5, 4-4, whatever you want to classify it as on defense. We teach our linebackers to read guards, read tackles, react, and flow. That for them on defense, that at the snap, they're reacting and going.
Yeah.
And they got a really good scheme, as far as that goes, and they do a lot of movement up front with their defensive linemen and their linebackers, a lot of Xing and blitzing schemes. So they're just attacking. And they, for me, it's like reaching out and getting a hold of your opponent by the throat and just kind of holding them there. That's what they want to do. And, in the latter part of the season here, they've done a really good job with it. And even in the games that they lost to Oak Hill, to Bluefield, and to Mingo Central, it was the same style of defense. And, those teams were just able to make some good plays and be consistent in what they were doing and outscore Independence because their defense is going to get the job done.
Well, as you mentioned, they were able to make plays. The teams that beat Independence, they were able to make plays. You guys got playmakers on your team. You have the ability that you've shown that you can light it up if necessary. You'd prefer to be methodical, obviously. You like to own the time of possession. You like to limit the amount of offensive possessions the opposing team can have, and then your defense likes to work heavy. One of the players you mentioned, obviously, Clay Walker, down last week with an ankle injury. Is there any status updates for him as far as his health is concerned coming into Friday?
Well, Clay came back in the second half and played some defense for us. I wouldn't allow him to play offense Friday night. I told him if I could get him on the field on defense. To be honest with you, I didn't even know he was going back in. Next thing I know, I seen him run down on the field.
That sounds like a Bubby May thing.
And I said, "What is he okay?" And
Brad just texted me and said you never mentioned your really awesome trainer. So here's the key.
So my really awesome trainer, never told me if Clay was going back in, and so I had to ask somebody, "Is he okay?" And the answer that I got was basically, "I'm not sure," but he wasn't taking no for an answer.
There you go, Brad.
So yeah, Clay's better. He twisted an ankle, and he's been going to therapy each day with Jeff Tanner. And a big thank you while I got the chance to run General Hospital and their willingness to see anybody with any type of ding, anything that needs looked at, given therapy, that they're willing to work them in at any point in time. And they've had 3 of our guys out there this week, and just working on them and helping them to get better and being prepared for Friday night. So that's a big deal. And, so Clay's going to be fine. He'll be good to go on Friday night without any issues.
Absolutely. That's good to hear. And we do thank the physical therapy department up there at Roan General. Thanks to Roan General. That's something that they partnered with a few years back, and it's been invaluable to our student athletes at Roan County High School and even at the lower levels as well for getting our kids some therapy that they need. Adam Webb says, nice work this year. Good luck, guys, on Friday nights. Angela Begler, Beggs' mom, says Jeff is the man. And she would know that from last year and the years in.
Last year was huge.
Yeah.
With Briar and that knee.
Man, we do want to say best of luck. Again, our thoughts and prayers continue to be with Briar and Colton Albright, who are in their basic training right now.
I've seen pictures of both of them.
Yeah, it's so weird to see Briar shaved down.
Briar with no hair.
I couldn't wait. I could not wait.
I showed a picture of him in the lane today, and I said, "There's your old buddy," and he goes, "Who's that?" And I said, "It's Briar," and he goes, "Oh, he ain't got no hair." Nope.
He did. Now Colton had already cut his hair down shorter, so we were ready for that.
He kept his hair pretty short.
Beggs, it was really weird to see that hair shorn down like a sheep. I was like, whoa, whoa.
So glad both of those guys are doing well. Yep. I was able to talk to Briar before he took off, and he's something. I was excited for him though. He's going to do awesome things. He and Colton, two guys like to have a good time.
Yeah, those guys just beginning their military careers and just getting their adult lives started. And so we do. We're thankful that they have chosen the military service, obviously, for that. And again, thanks to their parents for putting them on the right path, of course, and helping them get to there. Well, Coach, obviously, it's an opportunity again. This is again becoming a more like a broken record in that we're here, we're home for a playoff game. For the opening round. Some other things that have become a broken record are the ticketing way that you can get to this game, and it's all online nowadays. Things are all online. Speaking of #free Toby, everything's online these days.
Brad Paisley said it years ago. So much easier online.
Oh, is that? I was trying to remember that. I couldn't come up with a coach. I run a radio station that's country music, and I couldn't come up.
I thought that would cue you up and you could run with it, but
my head's full of just nothing. Useless knowledge. So there is a site that you go to that if you want to if you want to get tickets for this game, and it is gofan.co.
You're asking the wrong fellow, but
let me check.
I would ask Toby, but he's banned from.
I just GoFan. .com.
Is it .com?
Yep.
Are you sure it's not
Or
.co?
Yeah, .co.
I knew it. GoFan.co.
Yeah, I just had a person ask me if I could send them a link. Guess what? I did it.
John knows how to send a link.
Hey,
He's almost into the 21st century, Coach.
figured it out. Now let's see.
This guy,
He's almost.
he lives on that phone. He knows what's up.
He doesn't. Okay, listen.
I do
He may
not.
live on that, but it is only for
It's-
getting appointments. It's only text messaging.
At 2 o'clock.
Somebody texted him today.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey. My kid needs a haircut in the worst way. I'm like, how am I going to pull this up? Send him in it. Can you get him here before 4:30? He's got basketball practice. I'm like, great. I've got 5 in a row, and then I've got a 6th one coming in about 6 o'clock.
Listen.
And I figured it out. And then I was able to get another one in between Brogan and after that.
So could you concur? His hair was terrible.
Very long.
Yes.
Very long.
Very needed.
Oh, yeah, he needed
This
a haircut.
morning he said, "Dad, I need a haircut." And I turned around. I was like, "Man, you do. You look like a shaggy dog."
Well, no, I took care of that.
There's nothing that John can't do with the Clippers, man. After this many years of it, he has gotten very quick. Let's just say.
It's not the Clipper thing. It's the trying to fit in when you're trying to. Like, I had 5 in a row, like a family of 5.
Yeah, but if in that family of 5, 3 of them are my father, then you've got like 3 cuts that are like 2 seconds long.
They were kids, and they were well due for haircuts.
That's not a slight against my father. He's just got a very little hair left,
Listen,
so it's an easy haircut.
It's an easy one, but one of my favorite ones because we get to talk golf now.
Before he has a roast in the oven.
Yeah, and he'll talk Raider football. He'll talk golf.
Yeah,
you know.
John has become he's a golfer now, Coach. He's somebody that you're going to be able to call now and say, "Hey, we're having a scramble this weekend. Would you be available?" And he might say yes.
I've got a full set of clubs.
It's wild
now, and as a matter of fact, Mario Sotomayor was trying to get me to do the night golfing this.
Until they canceled it,
They
yeah.
ended up canceling it, Mario has done a lot of golfing with us over the summer, so I am enjoying the game.
Well, it's time for a break, and that's perfect because you just got excited about it, and so now's the time off, and then we'll be excited when it comes back around to season, and we'll all be out there having a good time, assuming I am finally well at that point and able to walk 100% and whatever else. Anyways, Coach, obviously we're late into the fall. We're into November, and it was a little chilly last Friday night. I know that there's been some rain hanging around the forecast here, but is that going to be gone by Friday night? I was going to say he has not worn a hat yet this year, and here he is wearing a hat. That's not true. He did wear a hat a couple times earlier this year. But take off your coaching hat and put on your meteorologist hat for us for Friday.
So, before we do that, let's talk about the happenings tomorrow night.
Holy cow, what did I forget?
I had it on the back burner in case he didn't say.
Yes, thank you. Listen, I got to do state tournament volleyball tomorrow. My head's clogged. Sorry, I apologize.
Tomorrow night from 6:30 to 8 o'clock, there will be a bonfire / pep rally, whatever you want to call it, at the walking trail, same place they had it last year.
They actually called that something.
They call it Woolweaver.
Joe Woolweaver Park is what it's called.
Okay.
Amy Childers from Handy Mart, Jack Garrett Ford, F&B. Those are all sponsors of that tomorrow night, I guess. But Amy's been the main cog in all of this. She was last year. She is this year. You probably see some pictures on Facebook of our seniors. We had a wild photo shoot last night to about 8:30.
Coach, I was driving up here.
I was leaving the wrestling room, And I just turned I was like, Coach's office is still open. I'm like, I'm going to turn the lights off and close the door. And as soon as I did, I came around the corner and I was like, hope you get your keys because I just closed the.
We were just getting started.
I'm coming down the hill and I see. I'm coming onto the main drag there at 33, and I see lights at the fire department. And I thought, oh gosh, I slowed down thinking there was a fire and a fire truck was coming out. I get closer and I see football players, and I look across the road and there's Coach Burnett with a football hanging out, smiling. And I was like, oh, they're doing a photo shoot. And I'm looking. I haven't seen anything yet, Coach. I'm looking forward to it.
There's some really cool pictures.
Andy March posted them has already posted a couple of them.
We did several on the football field. We moved to Handy Mart, did some there. Did some at the firehouse, and did some at Rotary Theater in the middle of the road.
Nice.
It was some really good, really good shots. So, but that's the second year in a row that Amy's kind of spearheaded that, and she's done a great job with it. So thank you to all those people who are involved with that, all the businesses. I know it's Handy Mart and Conserve and Jack Garrett Ford. I seen FMB on there this year. We just really appreciate it, for getting the community involvement up and getting people excited about what's going on. So come on out tomorrow night, 6:30 to 8 o'clock. And I think the ad says maybe free hot dogs and some other things. There'll be the bonfire, and then we'll get there probably, I'd say, the football team will show up about 6:45, 10 till 7, something like that. We have practice, and we have our team meal and our meeting, and then they'll load us up and take us over. So,
I do love the way that Amy and them have done that. They have asked you guys, what is your schedule like? They haven't just said, hey, we're going to do this, because you guys have your job to do, and you got to take care of that first, and then they can have a good time. I tell you, I was blown away last year by the amount of people that showed up for that event. That was so wonderful. It was so cool to see Coach Hamrick up there. He and his wife showed up for that event. They remember what it was like, Coach. They remember how important it is to have that. And to have them show up last year was so great. I don't know if they'll be able to make it again this year, but I do hope that we see them.
Actually, they're not going to, because we went to the state playoff meeting on Sunday, and then the old gray Dodge hadn't been washed in a while, so Toby and I went through a car wash there in South Parkersburg, and we pulled in to do a little wheel cleaning and vacuum cleaning. And as we pulled into our parking spot, I said, Toby, there is Coach Hamrick. He was there washing his vehicle, and they were leaving Monday for Oklahoma.
Okay.
So they're going to be out there, but he said, I'm not going to be able to come to that game next Friday, but I'm going to be watching. So.
I do appreciate that. That's really cool, Coach Hamrick. Again, no matter how far away that man is from Roane County, it's his home, and it will forever be, and he has always been a great supporter. Coach Peary said it's dry right now in the gymnasium. That's his weather report. Yes. Coach Peary pulling double duty, getting the basketball team rolling as well as coaching football. So it's going to be a good night tomorrow night. We do invite you to come out 6:30 to 8 at Joe Woolweaver Park. Again, it's the St. John's walking trail. It's the walking trail. Everybody knows where it is at this point. It's out towards the high school. And they've got a big bonfire set up already, folks. So we do thank Amy and the rest of the crew there with Handy Mart and Conserving the rest of the businesses that always step up, and they always help out with this stuff. And then Friday night, Coach, we're ready to go. It is the first round of the playoffs here in 2023. It's where you guys want to be every single year. You want to be home. You want to be hosting. Doesn't matter the opponent this year. It just happens to be the defending Class AA state champion, Independence Patriots. My gosh, we've got it coming to them. John Penna wanted this one, by the way, Coach, in case you didn't know.
Yeah, so that was actually the last game that I coached was at Independence. I still have not watched that game because, my gosh, we had them. We were so, oh my God.
I just watched it Sunday, by the way.
Yeah. I still haven't been able to watch the game. I do follow Independence football, and they had a post of one of the plays in the game, and let's just say that one wasn't one of my favorites.
He was doing the prognosticator 3 weeks ago, And when it hit on Independence, he's like, gosh, I hope we have them. He has not let that go.
I'm sorry.
Just so you know.
It's the one I wanted.
For those of you asking, yes, we are going. In fact, this is going to be interesting. This week, we are only going to be on Facebook and on YouTube. We are going to be live streaming the game. It did cost a fortune again this year. Just so you all know, it costs us a lot of money to do these playoff games. We owe the SSAC. The WVSSAC charges anybody who's going to be TV, video streaming. Not only that, they also charge for radio broadcasts. So this week, because WVU basketball is playing on Friday night, we have to honor our contract with West Virginia University. So on the radio, you're going to hear WVU basketball. And so we will be only streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. So that's where you guys can find us. Again, though, we will be streaming live at both our Facebook and YouTube accounts at 7 o'clock and kickoff set for 7:30 p.m. But again, folks, the weather's supposed to be decent for this. And again, we need fans. We have got to do what we did against North Marion and bring the house.
Yeah, pack it. I mean, your number 3 Raiders are hosting for the second year in a row, and we need all the support we can get. Big game for us. It would be absolutely huge to get another first round win Friday night and move on to round 2 and face whoever it may be at that point in time. But the weather's going to be fine. There's a little rain Friday morning, but that's all going to clear out. You know, you're looking at late fall temperatures of 50s by kickoff, and so bundle up, come out, bring your family, bring your friends, enjoy what's happening here. Enjoy it. Guys, I can remember being a kid and going to Spencer and watching those games in 90 and 91, and I couldn't wait to get to high school and be a part of that. And when I finally got to high school, you know, we had moved to Roane County High School, and you know, we'd moved to AAA, and so it never happened. I never got to be in that situation as a player. But when I came back here as a coach, that was my mission. That was my goal, was to bring that back, to put us back in that type of situation, and hopefully have that type of environment for the young kids in our county now to see and look forward to and want to do that when they get here. And it's been a blessing to be able to be a coach and be a part of what's happening here right now, and be excited about it. It doesn't happen everywhere, and it doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah.
It's special.
Take advantage of it, because moments like this are always fleeting. You never know how long they're going to last, so take advantage of it and be in the moment. Enjoy the fact that this Roane County team is rolling right now, and once again, they've rolled into the playoffs with a home game against Independence. 7:05, we'll be on the air for pregame coverage, 7:30, the kickoff. We invite you to get there. GoFan.co. It's very easy to get your tickets online, and you got to have online tickets. It's the only way you're getting into the ball game.
If I can do it.
If John Pitta can do it, anybody
My wife
can
wanted to
do it.
remind people that there's no canopies allowed Friday night.
No canopies Friday
only
night.
reminds people because she herself is crying that she can't have her canopy.
I tell you, that is a little odd, because I'm so used to seeing that canopy as I'm coming up the steps into the press box. Yeah. So no canopies, folks. No canopies on Friday night. You're not going to need them. Just bundle up. That's all you're going to need to do. Bundle up.
Bundle up, scream loud, jump
Yes.
up and down, stay warm.
Get fired up. Get fired up for the Raiders. They're going to give you something to be fired up about. I guarantee it. John Penna, you always get the semi-last word,
Hey,
buddy.
listen, like you said 3 weeks ago, I marked this one. It's a huge game. Roane County, Independence 4 years in a row making the playoffs, winning the state title last year. Roane County 3 years in a row. An opportunity for us to go out and get a big home win again and keep this thing rolling.
Absolutely. Could not have said
1-0,
it better. 1-0 for the week 12. That's amazing. That's where we are, folks. We appreciate you joining us once again for this Wednesday night edition of the Raider Review. We'll continue to roll it along next Wednesday night. We hope we're talking about a round 1 victory in the playoffs. That is Friday night at County Stadium. Folks, get out there and support the Raiders. For Coach Paul Burdett and John Penn, I'm Andrew Miller. Have another great Wednesday night.
Hello, Raider fans. This is Andrew Miller, voice of your